Originally, this video was going to be all about my terrible schedule. I'd mentioned it in my most popular video, Format versus Format. There's still going to be some talk about that, but while I was scripting the video, I realized that I didn't know how to put all my thoughts about it into words without making it a pity party. It was also just generally sad, and I really don't want to make a video like that. I have fun with videos, and I want to keep that up. So instead of fully interrupting my video catalog thus far, I'm going to make my terrible schedule talk only part of this video. When I decided on doing this, I had not known what the hell to actually do this video on, but I eventually landed on what I love about comics. It's a video I had planned for the first week in April, and considering the fact that I started this script when I was riding on the high of finishing an episode in 4 days, what better topic to discuss? Before we get into that, there's just one thing I should mention. Before this, I had made a community post explaining that no video would come out last week, which is what happened. That video, Let's Build number 2, was then planned out to come out today, and I'd pushed this video off for next week. Alongside me not feeling well, me underestimating how much time I had for Minecraft with comic work, and, other things. That video is instead going to come out when I originally had episode 3 planned. Given that that's not until mid-April, that gives me even more time to sort out some extra things if I find the time, and get off the Stardew grind. If all else fails, I've had a 100-day/1 year in Stardew video idea knocking around on my noggin for months, and I can generally get through a month a day. On top of that, today's lines will be making a reappearance next week because I forgot to record any other lines. And I'm only lucky that I was making a comic process video for the 4-day episode. With all that said, let's finally get into it. I'll start off with my terrible schedule. I'd like to leave you off on a high note, so let's just get this part out of the way. In order to reach the goals I have set for myself, I set myself on a very strict, very tight schedule. The schedule is entirely unhealthy for anyone, but in order to reach the deadlines I want to reach, especially after the health crisis I had in 2023, I have to stick to drawing episodes within 6 days. However, this creates a cycle. To boil it down, the cycle just causes me to be unable to draw an episode for some days because I cannot draw an episode for a few days. Sucks, right? It's been a year since this started now. In the beginning, it was a lot easier. First of all, I had a forced break at the beginning, and second of all, Paperclip Season 1 was scripted differently from how it is now. The first episode was 11 pages, and only one other episode hit double digits. For your satisfaction, it was episode 10 hitting 10 pages. And that episode was only so long because I decided to combine episodes 10 and 11 when I first drew them. That season was originally 15 episodes. I just had the time then to combine them, so I did. In the schedule, I even completely forgot to factor in the lessons. The mini episodes about Grant teaching Lily something about merfolk. And with how behind I've become because of that cycle, I may actually lose the first break I had scheduled in November of this year, and I may not even get a break until 2025 now. That's enough negativity for me. The first draft of this got to about there, but it sounded even more depressing. With all that terrible schedule nonsense, you must have realized by now that there's something else that keeps me going. Why would I put myself through this nonsense otherwise? Well, I love comics. Comics basically combine my favorite thing, art, and my favorite part about writing, dialogue. I've been writing since I was young. I was introduced to NaNoWriMo in 5th grade, and I've been participating ever since then. My absolute favorite part of writing quickly grew to be dialogue. What people say, how they say it, and why they're saying it can lead to fascinating topics. I picked up on this terrible eavesdropping habit. I never really paid attention to the actual conversation. I got good at losing the actual meanings, but I focused on how different people would speak to each other, how they spoke to their friends, a teacher, an acquaintance. Particularly funny was when someone I had been eavesdropping on came up to me at our shitty homecoming and said I was brave for playing my DS. To be fair, I went to 2 homecomings, mine and a rival schools because a friend went there, and the rivals was genuinely fun, and I did homecoming things. A non-intrusive way of doing this, by the way, pro tip, is by watching public SMP series. Hermitcraft binge, anyone? Even the way I'm reading out the script I wrote out could tell you things about how I may speak to others. I so didn't mean to gush about dialogue writing, but this is why I wanted to write about something I love in contrast to the terrible schedule bit. It took me weeks to write out that terrible schedule bit, but I wrote this entire dialogue section in like 10 minutes. The combination of words and art do more for me than fully writing ever could. That's why this series is a comic series first and foremost. The mainline stories are all comics. There are a few novels planned because there are mini many stories I want to tell. I think you'll be hearing about one a bit more in the Minecraft series. But I personally dislike describing locations and facial expressions. In art, I can just push through and let you see it with me. There's some trouble I've run into with describing locations, and that's that no matter how well you describe it, there will always be differences in people's minds. That's the exact reason I made a shitty diagram when I described my old dorm in the Weird Injuries video. No matter how I described it, and with me trying to keep it short, how it was and how you saw it in your head were going to be different. Despite me not drawing backgrounds a lot for the first 2 years, the ability to explicitly show you the environment they're in means a lot to me. It means your perception and my perception are going to be a lot more in line than it would be if I had just written it out. Sure, there could still be some discrepancies from how you visualize the room based on what's on the page, but they're closer than before. Also, facial expressions. It's no fun to describe Lily's constantly pissed off looking face from the beginning, but just drawing her looking pissed off gets it across to you. And given the fact that she's literally the main character and appears on the page most of the time, it's not hard to show her expression to you. There's so much you can do with comics and formats. There's limitless opportunity, as with other mediums, to express your story how you want. I like the ability to freely place on the page exactly what's happening. The Clipverse is a large-scale project. I will probably do it for the rest of my life, and despite the tens of other story ideas I have, I'm okay with that. There's honestly a non-zero chance that I can't even finish the Clipverse. That's a sad thought, but that honestly just means I need to work as efficiently as possible to get everything I want out there. You have no idea the places this thing will go. It has a very deceiving, cutesy, and simple exterior, but the further you get, the more intense it gets. I honestly cannot believe the things I have written and planned for this. It also makes my daddy issues really obvious, which is very hilarious. I wasn't originally going to elaborate on that, but to not make my dad sound bad, my daddy issues are the fact that he died when I was 5. No need for platitudes. I've been told too many times in my life that they're sorry for my loss. It just means I have the rights to have orphan jokes, and you are welcome to cringe or relate. Comics are a complex way to tell a story. I utterly adore them. There's just something about being able to have the written word paired with some art to back the idea of the text. Honestly, I'm starting to wonder if my recent fascination for written things is from me rereading my favorite childhood series again for fun. 43rd Old Cemetery Road if you're curious, and of course I'm working on a video for it soon. I just have to finish it for like the 100th time. Anyway, there's so much you can do with comics. It also depends on the format you use. I'm sorry for being such a format snob that I keep bringing it up. There's so many ways to express what you've written down to show. I wouldn't be sure how to write about the fact that Luella actually knows what it is her sister was hiding all summer, but with the comic, I was able to draw her in some fun poses and then give her an annoyed face after Cleo cuts the conversation short. I didn't really do that the first time, nor do I think I actually fully had planned out some of what ends up happening in the comic. It's been planned for a long while that Lucy and Katie are dating, but the bet and the fact that the families know wasn't set in stone until I decided on that when I started scripting. If it was planned, it certainly doesn't look good from the original season 2 episode 8. I wasn't a comics kid. I believe I've mentioned that before. Despite comics now being my entire life, I didn't really care about them until high school. Even then, it wasn't until college that I decided that that was what I wanted to do. I was entirely influenced by the creators I used to watch back in early high school. When I was young, I thought comics were just the Sunday funnies I'd steal from the paper my mom would actually read. I liked those, but that short form style didn't really do anything for me. I loved them, I read them every week, but I don't write short form anything. The few one-shots I've managed to write were nothing short of miracles. It wasn't until I learned that you could actually write a long form story with comics that I actually got into the idea of making them myself. Now that I'm here, now that I've made comics my entire life, I get it. They're fun, they're creative, they're hard work. It's the combination of my favorite things. I love writing out the conversation my little nerds have while actually drawing their actions. I love writing a small conversation between Lily and Lucy about why Lucy doesn't like the fake vampire teeth Cleo's passing out so the gang could play vampire for Bethany's Buffy the Vampire Slayer costume. Bethany, by the way, is Cleo's younger sister. She used to be named Maxine, which is why I'm clarifying that right now. Honestly, the positivity portion of the script made me feel a lot better. I'd been stuck in the sad part of the cycle for the last week and trying to fill the void with Stardew's 1.6 update. This reminder of why I love comics did a lot for me as well. My absolute favorite part of comics is hearing about what y'all have to say about them. That's why I do a comment of the week section. By the way, there's some open slots available on Ratu because not a lot of folks have commented. If you want to be featured, comment anywhere on any of my platforms about my comic and you get a chance to get featured. I think I'll actually be able to get some work done after I get this video up. So thank you for your time, and that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching.